I am Lena Hassanel and Nightline begins now. The top stories. Malaysia to continue fighting against agri-commodity discrimination. And Erdogan vows to reunite Turkey after hard-fought presidential runoff. Good morning. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has won re-election in a tense runoff after he failed to secure more than 50% of votes required for an outright victory in one of the most bitter campaigns in recent memory. In delivering his winning speech, Erdogan confronted the tough task of uniting his deeply divided country, saying it was time to put aside all the debates and conflicts regarding the election and unite around the national goals and dreams.
Milletimizin bize verdiği sorumluluğun gereği olarak kimseye kırgın, küskün, kızgın, öfkeli değiliz. Artık seçim dönemine dair tüm tartışmaları ve çekişmeleri bir kenara bırakarak milli hedeflerimiz, milli hayallerimiz etrafında birleşme, bütünleşme vaktidir.
With almost all of the votes counted, Erdogan received 52.14% of votes in the second round on Sunday, beating Kılıçdaroğlu, who won 47.86%. The vote seals Erdogan's place in history as he extends his 20-year rule for a further 5 years. The election had been seen as Erdogan's biggest political challenge, with his opposition Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu confident of unseating him and reversing his policies after polls showed a cost of living crisis left him vulnerable. Kılıçdaroğlu, in the meantime, claimed it was the most unfair election in years, but did not dispute the outcome. Despite the loss, he is yet to resign, although calls for him to do so would likely increase. Erdogan supporters in the meantime welcomed the continuity of his 20-year rule into a third decade, as the victory would reinforce the leader's image of invincibility after having already redrawn domestic, economic, security and foreign policy in the NATO member country of 85 million people.
Vallahi iyi ki seçildi. İyi olduğu için demek ki Tayyip Erdoğan lider bir cumhurbaşkanıdır. Halkın gönlüne kamp kurmuştur. Bunun alternatifi yok. Tamam, yani bunu halk 20 seferde seçiyorsa demek ki başarılı bir liderdir. Türkiye'ye layık bir liderdir. Bunun başka diyecek hiçbir şeyi yok. Halk bunu tercih ediyorsa en büyük Tayyip Erdoğan diyorum. Ben onu her türlü destekliyorum.
However, some voters who wanted change said they were disappointed that Erdogan was re-elected, claiming it was an unjust election.
Haksız bir seçim oldu diye düşünüyorum. Gerçekten ülke çok kötü bir durumda. Dilerim Allah'tan hayırlısı olur herkes için. Bizim gönlümüzdeki aday bambaşka biriydi. Yani ülkeyi gerçekten yönetecek bir insandı. Olmadı, hayırlısı diyelim.
The election had been seen as one of the most consequential yet for the country, with the opposition believing it had a strong chance of unseating Erdogan and reversing his policies after the leader's popularity was hit by a cost of living crisis. Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim has joined other world leaders in congratulating Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan for winning a historic runoff election on Sunday. In his tweet, Datuk Sri Anwar, who shares strong ties with Erdogan, said Turkey will continue to play a constructive role as an important regional and global player. The Prime Minister also conveyed Malaysia's eagerness to collaborate closely with Turkey to further strengthen bilateral relations. Malaysia will continue to fight any discriminatory trade practices against its agri-commodity sector. This is because Malaysia, as a producing and trading country, is deeply concerned over the implementation of the European Union Deforestation Regulation, EUDR, and the implications, not only for palm oil, but also its other main commodities such as timber, cocoa, and rubber. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Sri Fadilah Yusof, who is on a Malaysia-Indonesia joint trade mission to the EU to defend the palm oil industry, said some aspects of the risk assessment process of the EUDR are counterproductive to commitments to curb global deforestation. and run the risk of disincentivizing producing countries.
Malaysia values the EU as one of our important trading and investment partners. However, from our perspective, the implementation of EUDR is a deliberate act by Europe to block market access and protect their domestic oilseeds market, which is inefficient and cannot compete with the cost of palm oil.
Datuk Sri Fadilah, who is also Plantation and Commodities Minister, said this at a luncheon with Malaysia diaspora in Brussels, Belgium on Monday. He is in Belgian capital until May 31st, leading a delegation to hold various meetings and engagement sessions with EU's top leaders to explain the stand of the Council of Palm-Producing Countries, CPOPC, on the implementation of the EUDR, which not only targeted the palm oil industry, but also has affected the livelihood of millions of smallholders. The implementation of the regulation was announced by the EU on December 6th last year, with the aim of preventing deforestation due to agricultural activities. The EU accounts for 9.4% of Malaysia's palm oil export volume, or 1.47 million tons of palm oil. An accounting assistant from the South Kelantan Development Authority, Kesedar, linked to a 24.8 million ringgit criminal breach of trust (CBT) case, allegedly misused the identities of 9 individuals who also work with the same agency to steal the money. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Sri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi, in revealing the modus operandi of the 37-year-old employee, said he had been doing so for the past 8 years. Datuk Sri Ahmad Zahid, who is also Rural and Regional Development Minister, said he had asked the Ministry's Secretary-General to take legal action against the individual, as the case involves taxpayers' money. He added that the suspect will be suspended from work in accordance with provisions set by the Public Service Department.
9 individu di dalam Kesedar telah digunakan ID-nya oleh individu berkenaan untuk melakukan penyelewengan wang Kesedar hampir 25 juta. Satu tempoh yang panjang ini saya fikir adalah satu perbuatan yang licik yang dilakukan oleh penolong kaunter yang berkenaan. Saya mengambil tindakan yang tegas dan saya tidak akan pernah berkompromi.
He said this to reporters after launching the Anti-Sexual Harassment Advocacy Roadshow in Putrajaya on Monday. On Saturday, Kelantan Police Chief Datuk Muhammad Zaki Harun said the suspect was arrested at his home in Bandar Gua Musang, a day after a report was made over the missing funds. The suspect has been remanded for a week, and the case was being investigated under Section 408 of the Penal Code. Containers transported on trailer lorries will soon be equipped with electronic security seals, e-seal, to deter smuggling of prohibited goods. The system is expected to increase the country's revenue by 20%.
Ada sistem tracking kepada e-seal itu yang kita boleh ketahui jika mereka ingin menukar kandungan di dalam kontena yang berkaitan. Jadi kami syak perkara itu berlaku kerana seal timah itu terlalu mudah dan boleh didapati dengan mudah untuk ditukar, dipotong, ditukar. Jadi dengan kaedah e-seal itu kita boleh tahu pergerakan kontena dengan tepat.
Datuk Sri Ahmad also hoped the implementation of the e-seal, which was being tested by the Customs Department, could take off soon, as the discussions on the use had been going on for a few months. It was already used by several countries such as Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda and Congo, where smuggling was reduced and boosted the country's tax revenue. Last year, there were 100 cases where goods worth more than 573,000 ringgit were confiscated. Customs have collected revenue amounting to 53.5 billion ringgit in 2022, compared to 42.5 billion ringgit in 2021. The Sijil Pelajaran Malaysia SPM 2022 examination results will be announced on June 8th. According to the Education Ministry, SPM candidates can obtain the results from their respective schools from 10 a.m. on that day. The result slips of private candidates will be sent to them by post, or the candidates can contact the State Education Department where they registered for the examination. Both public school and private SPM candidates could also check their results online at myresultspm.moe.gov.my from 10 a.m. on June 8th until 6 p.m. on June 14th. The results can also be retrieved via short messaging system SMS by typing SPM identification number, student roll number and send it to 15888. Previously, a total of 403,637 candidates registered to sit for the 2022 SPM examination. A shop assistant was allegedly stabbed to death by a man in a shopping mall at Jalan Haji Saman in Kota Kinabalu, Sabah on Monday. The 33-year-old suspect, who is believed to be her former fiancé, was arrested at the crime scene by police following the incident, which occurred around noon. District Deputy Police Chief Superintendent Kalsom Idris said a police team rushed to the scene upon being alerted of the incident and found the 22-year-old victim still breathing, lying on the floor in a pool of blood with multiple stab wounds on her body. Medical officers then tried reviving her, but she died at the scene. Her body was later brought to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital for post-mortem. Authorities also seized a knife found in the premises, which was believed to be the weapon used by the suspect. His motive was still unknown. The case is being investigated under the Penal Code for murder.
Seorang wanita diculik sebelum dijumpai mati.
Peratus yang terbakar adalah lebih kurang 75 ke 80%.
Pihak polis telah menjumpai satu mayat yang telah rentung.
Fail Mahkamah, Rabu 9 malam, TV3 dan stream secara HD ditonton.
A snap election for July 23rd, a day after his socialists suffered a drubbing in local and regional polls. In a televised address, the leader said he took responsibility for the results, noting it was necessary to respond and submit the democratic mandate to the will of the people. Sanchez, who had often said he wanted to see out a full term in office, portrayed Sunday's rout as a clear vote of no confidence in his coalition government. Widely seen as a dress rehearsal for a general election that had been expected at the end of the year, Sunday's polls saw the main opposition Popular Party, PP, chalked up the largest number of votes. The right-wing PP also scored significant gains at a regional level, seizing 6 regions that had been under socialist control, including Valencia in the east and the Balearic Islands. The results indicated that the PP could unseat Sanchez and his Socialist Workers' Party if they replicated that performance at national parliamentary level. China's Shanghai recorded its hottest May day in 100 years on Monday, shattering the previous high by a full degree. According to the city's meteorological service, the temperature at Shijiahui Station hit 36.1 degrees Celsius, breaking a 100-year-old record for the highest temperature in May. The temperature at the bustling station then climbed even higher to 36.7 degrees Celsius later in the afternoon, putting it a full degree above the old record, 35.7 degrees Celsius, which has been recorded 4 times previously in 1876, 1903, 1915 and 2018. Scientists stated that global warming is exacerbating adverse weather, with many countries experiencing deadly heat waves and temperatures hitting records across Southeast and South Asia in recent weeks. Japan put its ballistic missile defenses on alert on Monday, vowing to shoot down any projectile that threatened its territory after North Korea notified it of a satellite launch between May 31st and June 11th. Japan's defense ministry in a statement said that the country will take destructive measures against ballistic and other missiles that are confirmed to land in its territory. The ministry added that it would use its Standard Missile 3 or Patriot Missile PAC-3 to destroy a North Korean missile. Prime Minister Fumio Kishida, meanwhile, stated that any North Korean missile launch would be a serious violation of UN Security Council resolutions, condemning its nuclear and missile activity. This came after Pyongyang said it has completed its first military spy satellite, with its leader Kim Jong-un approving final preparations for a launch to place it in orbit. tennis, the 2023 French Open. Andrei Rublev was forced to battle hard before beating Laslo Djere in the first round. Rublev took the first set 6-1 before Djere bounced back and won the second set 6-3. The world number 7 Russian then regained his momentum to seal a place in the second round with a 6-3, 6-4 win in the next 2 sets. Joining him was Lorenzo Musetti. The 17th seed faced no trouble beating Mikael Ymer 7-5, 6-2, 6-4. Also in the next round was Ugo Humbert. Humbert comfortably came out on top in straight sets 6-3, 6-3, 6-1. An all-French contest against Adrian Manarino in the first round. In the women's category, American number 3 seed Jessica Pegula fared better, easing past compatriot Danielle Collins, a former Australian Open finalist, to claim a 6-4, 6-2 first round win. The 29-year-old next faces Italian Camilla Giorgi, who made quick work of local hope Elise Cornet earlier on Sunday. Cornet was not at her best as she lost the opener 3-6. The local favourite tried to bounce back in the second set, but Giorgi proved to be too strong for Cornet, clinching a 6-4 win. In another match, Maria Sakkari became the first top 10 seed to exit the French Open, as she fell in straight sets to Karolina Muchova in a battling encounter. Muchova defeated the 8-seeded Greek 7-6, 7-5 in a match that lasted for more than 2 hours. Muchova, who now has 8 wins over top 10 players in her career, will take on another former Roland Garros semi-finalist in Nadia Podoroska of Argentina in the next round. Coming up after the break, school bully held after pushing classmate downstairs. Don't go away. In Pulau Pinang, a student from Balik Pulau MRSM was detained by police for allegedly pushing a classmate down the hostel staircase on May 25th. State Police Chief Datuk Kao Kok Chin said the suspect is being held to assist in a probe into voluntarily causing grievous hurt. Datuk Kok Chin said as a result of the incident, the victim suffered injuries to his body and received treatment at a hospital.
Dua orang pelajar lah, dia ada bertolak-menolak, jadi salah seorang tu menolak mangsa itu, jatuh ke bawah tangga itu dan mendatangkan a few kecederaan dekat badan dia. Dan untuk makluman pihak polis kita buka di bawah Seksyen 325.
The state CPO was speaking to the media at the State Police Contingent Headquarters in Georgetown. He said the suspect was released on police bail after having a statement taken. The incident comes on the heels of a bullying case at the same institution. 5 Form 5 students have been held to assist an investigation into a bullying case involving a Form 3 student on May 18th. The incident was believed to have occurred due to a misunderstanding, and the victim was injured in the assault by a group of seniors. The 17-year-old boys were released on police bail after their statements were taken. In Johor, police nabbed 2 more individuals to assist investigations into a video-recorded brawl in Tampoy on Saturday night. This brings the total number of arrests in relation to the incident to 8 people, including a woman. State Police Chief Datuk Kamaruzaman Mamat said all those detained aged between 18 and 35 have been remanded for 4 days until Wednesday, and the case was being investigated under the Penal Code.
Saya memberi amaran tegas bahawa pihak polis akan mengambil tindakan dan kita telah menangkap 8 orang yang terlibat pada kejadian yang dalam video tersebut untuk disiasat kerana kita tak akan berkompromi dengan perkara-perkara yang melibatkan perkara-perkara yang sensitif yang boleh menjejaskan keamanan dan kedamaian dalam negeri Johor ini.
He added that police were also seeking several other individuals who were involved in the fight or witnessed the incident. In the 28-second video, which went viral on social media, a group of men were seen beating another man who was sprawled on the ground. The assailants not only were kicking the man but also used motorcycle helmets to hit him. The Attorney General's Chambers, AGC, has sought more time to consider former Treasury Secretary General Tan Sri Muhammad Irwan Sidigar Abdullah's application to strike out his 6.6 billion ringgit criminal breach of trust CBT case. In light of this, Deputy Public Prosecutor Muhammad Saifuddin Hashim Musami asked the court for another date for case management. He told High Court Judge Muhammad Jamil Hussain that the amount involved in the case is too big and more time was needed to review the letter of representation from the accused. Tan Sri Irwan is jointly charged with Datuk Sri Muhammad Najib Tun Razak for CBT involving 6.6 billion ringgit in government funds for payments to the International Petroleum Investment Company, IPIC. The duo allegedly committed the offences at the Finance Ministry's complex in Putrajaya between December 21st, 2016 and December 18th, 2017. The 6 charges under the Penal Code for CBT by a public servant or agent carries a maximum 20 years imprisonment, whipping and a fine upon conviction. As we wrap up Nightline this time around, let's take a look as a 14-legged giant isopod stole the limelight as a new dish at a ramen restaurant in Taipei. Since the limited edition noodle bowl was launched on May 22nd, more than 100 people have joined the waiting list to dine on the deep-sea creature, which costs more than 200 ringgit. With that, I'm Lena Hassanel. Thank you for joining us and take care, Malaysia.